Have you ever wondered why, after everything you've discovered, after all the light, the clarity, the awakening, you suddenly feel empty? You thought seeing the truth would set you free, that peace would fill the space where confusion once lived. But instead there's silence, a strange, heavy stillness. You wake up, and the world feels distant, detached. The things that once mattered don't stir you anymore. The goals, the dreams, the chase, it all feels meaningless now. And you can't help but ask, what happened to me? You didn't lose motivation because you're lazy. You lost it because something inside you broke free. You saw the machinery of the mind, the endless running, the wanting, the grasping, and you saw it for what it is, an illusion. For years it drove you. You believed that if you achieved enough, healed enough, became enough, then you'd finally be whole. But awakening shattered that story. You looked behind the curtain and realized there was never anyone to become. There was just life unfolding. And that truth, as liberating as it sounds, can feel like death. Because what powered you before was illusion. The chase gave you direction. The struggle gave you purpose. Every desire, every ambition, every fight was built around the idea that something was missing, that you had to find it, fix it, earn it. And when awakening stripped that illusion away, it took your fuel with it. Suddenly there was nothing to strive for, nothing to fix, nothing to prove. So you stand there wide awake, staring into the vastness of existence, and it feels like a void. But that void isn't the end. It's the space between worlds, the death of one way of living and the birth of another. It's what happens when your false self dissolves and the real you hasn't yet emerged. It feels like numbness, like apathy, like something inside you went silent. But that silence is sacred. It's not the absence of meaning, it's the clearing of noise. It's the still point before creation begins again. Right now you are standing in that sacred pause. You are not broken, you are being emptied. 'Cause to truly live, you first have to die to what you thought life was. To let go of the lies that once defined you. The lie that happiness comes from the next goal. The lie that worth must be earned. The lie that peace exists somewhere else, somewhere beyond this moment. Awakening exposes all of it. It burns away everything that isn't real. And in that burning, you're left with nothing to hold on to. That's why it feels like the ground has disappeared beneath your feet. But this emptiness, this nothingness, is not a mistake. It's not a punishment. It's a doorway. The ego can't understand it because it thrives on doing, achieving, controlling. But you're learning to simply be. And that's terrifying, isn't it? Because for the first time, you can't distract yourself with what's next. You can't hide behind identity or goals. You're face to face with pure existence. It's raw, it's quiet, it's infinite. And yet, within that stillness, something begins to move. Not the old motivation, the one built on fear, on lack, but a new energy, a gentler one that doesn't push, but flows. It doesn't demand, it invites. You start to notice small moments again, the warmth of light on your skin, the sound of rain, the breath moving in and out of your body. You realize life hasn't lost its color, you just stopped trying to paint over it. The reason you feel no motivation is because the kind of motivation you once knew was never real. It was resistance disguised as drive, fear disguised as passion. You were running from yourself, not towards something true. Awakening took that away, and now you're learning to move differently, not from lack, but from wholeness. Not because you need to, but because it feels alive to do so. This is the beginning of a deeper kind of living, one that doesn't depend on meaning but creates it moment by moment. The silence you feel now will soon turn into clarity. The stillness will turn into movement. And when it does, your actions will no longer come from the need to become someone, but from the freedom of already being everything. You haven't lost your purpose. You've outgrown the one that was never yours. You're not unmotivated. You're awakening to a new kind of power, one that doesn't come from wanting more, but from realizing you already are enough. But here's the truth. Most people never reach. You were never meant to stay empty. That silence inside you was never the destination. It was the reset before everything changed. Because when the illusions fall apart, you're given a choice: to stay numb in the ashes of what used to be, or to rise and live from something real. This is where most people give up. They mistake the stillness for the end. They walk away before the transformation begins. But if you can endure the quiet, if you can sit inside that nothingness long enough, you'll start to feel something ancient move within you. A pulse, a whisper, a memory of what it means to be alive without needing a reason why. That feeling, that spark, is your soul waking up. Not the one that's chasing something, but the one that's always been whole. It's subtle at first. You might feel it when you create something with no goal in mind, when you speak truth without needing approval, when you help someone with no expectation of return. It's a different kind of motivation, one that doesn't shout. It hums, it flows, it calls you back to life without demanding anything from you. And that's when you realize you never lost your fire. It was just buried under everything you thought you had to be. But this realization is dangerous, because once you feel it, you can never go back. You can't live on autopilot anymore. You can't keep pretending that survival is enough. You'll see how most people live half asleep, trading authenticity for comfort, meaning for distraction. You'll see how society teaches you to chase everything except yourself. And you'll feel it in your bones, the quiet rage of knowing that you've been hypnotized your whole life. That's when the old world starts to fall apart for good. Because the truth doesn't let you stay small. This is the breaking point. The moment where you either return to the illusion, numbing yourself with noise and comfort, or you step into the unknown with nothing but faith. This choice isn't easy. It requires surrender, the kind that burns. It means letting go of every excuse, every someday, every lie that says you're not ready. Because the truth is, you are. You always were. You just forgot. And now, everything in your life is pushing you to remember. Every moment of emptiness, every wave of doubt, every flicker of longing. They're not punishments. They're signals. The universe shaking you awake, whispering, you're meant for more. And if you listen, really listen, you'll hear it. The quiet urge to create, to move, to live. Not because you're chasing purpose, but because you are purpose. That's the turning point. The shift from being lost to being alive. You stop asking, what's the point? And start realizing that you are the point. That existence itself is the miracle. And when that truth lands, something explosive happens. The same life that once felt empty suddenly becomes electric. Every breath feels significant. Every action feels sacred. Not because it leads somewhere, but because it is somewhere. That's when the new kind of motivation appears. Not driven by fear or ambition, but by love, the kind that moves mountains quietly. You start to see that you're not separate from life. You are life. You're not waiting for meaning to arrive. You're creating it with every choice you make. And in that realization, everything changes. The things you do aren't to fill the void. They are the expression of what's beyond the void. You no longer work to prove yourself. You create to celebrate yourself. You give not to earn worth, but because you overflow with it. This is what awakening was preparing you for all along. Not to escape the world, but to return to it fully awake, to walk through life with open eyes and an open heart. To act, not because you're forced to, but because it feels like breathing. This is where real power lives. Not in control, not in certainty, but in surrender. The kind of surrender that doesn't make you weak, it makes you unstoppable. Because once you stop resisting what is, you become one with it. And that's the moment everything aligns. The mind grows quiet. The heart expands. The path ahead begins to form, not from effort but from presence. You stop waiting for a reason to move forward because you finally see that the act of living is the reason. And when you live from that truth, motivation isn't something you search for. It's something that flows through you. It's who you are. It's what You've always been. Pure awareness, pure potential, pure life, awake, alive, and limitless. And now something inside you knows it's time to move. No more waiting for the perfect sign, the perfect plan, the perfect version of yourself. Because perfection was never the goal. Awakening wasn't meant to make you flawless. It was meant to make you real. And real is messy. Real is raw. Real doesn't wait for clarity. It creates it. The world doesn't need another person pretending to have it all figured out. It needs someone willing to step forward despite the uncertainty. Someone who can feel fear and still act. Someone who can stand in the middle of chaos and still choose truth over comfort. That someone is you. You've already gone through the hardest part, the death of illusion. You've faced the emptiness that most people spend their entire lives running from. You've stood in that silence and survived. That means you're ready. You've been stripped bare for a reason. The fire you walked through wasn't punishment. It was purification. It burned away everything that wasn't real, everything that was holding you back. And what remains now is pure potential. The same life that once felt meaningless is now your canvas. You can shape it, create it, live it fully, not because you're chasing something, but because you've remembered who you are. But this truth means nothing unless you live it. Awakening without action becomes another illusion. A beautiful idea that never touches the world. The mind will try to keep you still. It will whisper, you're not ready. It will remind you of your past, your failures, your fears. It will tell you to wait, to plan, to think. Don't listen. That voice belongs to the old self, the one built from fear, the one you've already outgrown. The only way forward now is through movement, not perfect movement, honest movement. One small step in alignment with your truth will shift more than 1,000 hours of overthinking ever could. The universe responds to momentum, not hesitation. Life doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who dare. You've seen behind the curtain. You know this existence is temporary, fragile, precious. So why waste another second living like you have forever? Every breath is a miracle. Every moment is a chance to begin again. The fear you feel right now is proof that you're standing on the edge of transformation. Let it fuel you. Let it remind you that you're alive. Because fear doesn't mean stop. It means you're getting close to something real. You've spent your life searching for meaning, chasing purpose, trying to become something more. But the truth is, purpose isn't found. It's lived. It's born in the moment you decide to show up fully without needing guarantees. When you pour yourself into what's in front of you, when you create, speak, act from that place of presence, you become the very thing you are seeking. You become the channel through which life expresses itself. That's the power you've been missing. Not the power to control, but the power to surrender and still move forward with strength. You're not meant to stay in the shadows of thought. You're meant to stand in the light of awareness and let it move through you. The pain you felt, the doubts you've carried, they're not chains anymore. They're fuel. They're proof that you're ready to live without the masks, without the endless striving. You've already been to the depths of nothingness. Now it's time to rise, not as who you were, but as what you truly are. Consciousness in motion, awareness taking form. This is your rebirth, the moment when existence stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that happens through you. Every action from this point forward is a declaration, I am here. I am alive. I am not waiting for permission to begin. Let that become your mantra. Let it echo through every decision, every breath, every heartbeat. Because once you truly live from that space, life will meet you with the same intensity. Doors will open, energy will return, flow will find you again. The world doesn't need another awakened mind sitting in silence. It needs an awakened soul moving with purpose. Not to fix the world, but to remind it what wholeness looks like. That's your calling now. To live as proof that it's possible to wake up and still create. To see the illusion and still dance within it. To know the truth and still love the dream. So don't wait. Don't look back. The awakening wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning. And now it's time to live it. And when you finally decide to move, everything inside you starts to shift. The world doesn't suddenly get easier. You do. You stop waiting for certainty before taking the first step. You stop needing validation before trusting your voice. You begin to see that the fear, the doubt, the hesitation, they were never walls. They were invitations. Invitations to step into the unknown, to meet the parts of yourself that only awaken through action. Every moment you move despite the noise, you reclaim the power you once gave away. Every choice born from truth becomes an act of rebellion against everything that tried to keep you asleep. You start to notice that life isn't asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be present, to show up, to participate. The purpose you've been searching for doesn't live in the distance. It's already here in the breath, in the heartbeat, in the silence between thoughts. You've been waiting for something grand, something divine, but the divine was never hiding. It's in the way you love. It's in the way you rise when no one's watching. It's in the way you keep going even when it hurts. That's what awakening truly means. Not escaping the human experience, but feeling it completely. But make no mistake, this path demands everything. You can't live half awake anymore. You can't keep pretending that comfort will save you. The longer you resist, the louder the emptiness grows. You've already seen what happens when you ignore the call. It eats at you. It drains your spirit. Because deep down, you know you were never meant to play small. You were never meant to shrink to fit a life that no longer fits you. The pain you feel now isn't punishment. It's the sound of your potential breaking free. The only question left is whether you'll let it. Stop waiting for the right moment. There is no right moment. There is only now. The present is the only ground you'll ever stand on. The mind will always tell you to wait until you're ready, but readiness isn't something you find, it's something you claim. The moment you choose to act from truth, the moment you choose to stop negotiating with fear, that's when you become unstoppable. Not because everything suddenly makes sense, but because you stop needing it to. You start trusting life again. You start trusting yourself again. And when you do, you'll see that life has been waiting for you to remember who you are. Every challenge you faced, every heartbreak, every loss, it wasn't here to destroy you. It was here to awaken you, to tear away the illusions you clung to so tightly, to show you what remains when everything else falls apart. That's your foundation now, raw, unshakable awareness, the part of you that no storm can touch, the part of you that's eternal. When you live from that place, your entire energy changes. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop forcing and start flowing. You stop existing on the surface and begin living from the center. People will feel it. They'll see the calm in your eyes, the quiet strength in your voice. Not because you've become something new, but because you've finally stopped pretending to be anything else. That's what real power looks like. Silent, centered, certain. And it doesn't end there. Because once you remember this truth, your life becomes a reflection of it. You start creating not to prove your worth, but to express it. You start loving not to fill a void, but to overflow from it. Every action becomes sacred because it's aligned. Every moment becomes meaningful because you're awake inside it. The motivation you were searching for isn't gone. It's evolved. It's no longer the restless fire of ambition. It's the steady flame of purpose. The kind that doesn't burn out because it's fueled by truth. So take this moment and breathe it in. This is your awakening. Not the calm after the storm, but the calm within it. You don't need more time, more answers, more signs. You are the sign. You are the proof that awakening doesn't end in silence. It ends in creation. The world needs what only you can give, your voice, your truth, your light. Don't wait for permission to live it. The time for waiting is over. The time for becoming is gone. The time for being, fully, fearlessly, unapologetically, is now. And now you understand? Awakening was never about finding peace, it was about finding power. The kind of power that doesn't come from control, but from surrender. The kind that doesn't need validation, because it already knows its worth. You've tasted truth, and now the illusion no longer satisfies you. That's why you can't go back. You've seen too much. You've felt too deeply. The veil has been lifted, and once you've seen reality as it is, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend the shallow things still matter. You can't keep living like you're asleep when your soul is wide awake. This is where most people retreat. They numb themselves. They distract. They run back to comfort because truth feels too heavy. But you're not here to retreat. You're here to rise. You didn't come this far to stop halfway through your transformation. You came to burn through everything false until only what's real remains. That's what awakening demands. Not half-hearted effort, but total honesty. The willingness to stand naked before life and say, take everything that isn't me. That's courage. That's freedom. And it's the only way to live without chains. Because once you've awakened, you can't survive on half-truths anymore. You can't keep living a life that doesn't set your soul on fire. You can feel it, the pull, the urgency, the quiet voice inside whispering, it's time. Time to stop waiting, time to stop apologizing. Time to stop shrinking, to fit places you've outgrown. You are not here to blend in. You are here to awaken others just by being fully alive. Every step you take in truth becomes permission for someone else to do the same. That's the ripple effect of awakening. It spreads quietly but powerfully through every soul you touch. But don't mistake awakening for escape. It doesn't remove you from the world, it roots you deeper into it. You begin to see the divine in the ordinary, the sacred in the struggle. You realize that every obstacle is an initiation, every moment a mirror showing you what still needs to dissolve. Life stops being something to endure and becomes something to experience fully. Even the pain has purpose now. Even the chaos has wisdom. Because you finally understand that nothing is against you. It's all shaping you. Every storm you've faced was carving you into who you were meant to become. And now you're standing at the edge of something greater. Not the end of your journey, but the beginning of conscious creation. You're no longer a victim of life's flow. You are the flow. You're no longer chasing destiny. You are destiny. The same energy that moves galaxies runs through your veins, waiting for you to remember how to use it. Every thought, every word, every intention carries weight. This is where the real responsibility begins. You're not just living for yourself anymore. You're living as life itself. Every choice you make echoes through everything around you. That's how powerful you are. But with that power comes a choice. To live awake or to fall back asleep. To keep creating from awareness or to slip into the comfort of forgetting. The world will tempt you to forget. It will try to convince you that truth is too costly, that peace is impossible, that meaning is something you have to earn. Don't believe it. You've already seen behind the curtain. You know the game. You know that the same stillness you felt in the void is also the force that moves mountains. You've felt that infinite space within you. That's your home now. Return to it. Breathe from it. Act from it. Because awakening is not about leaving this world behind. It's about bringing consciousness into it. Into your work, your words, your relationships. Every act of presence becomes a revolution against unconscious living. Every moment you choose awareness over fear, creation over distraction, love over judgment, you shift reality itself.